Love can be terrifying, especially when it challenges someone's fears of vulnerability and commitment. If you've noticed her sending mixed signals, don't jump to conclusions. There's often a deeper psychology at play. Like the Stoics, who mastered the art of observing human behavior, you need to look beyond the surface to understand her actions. In this episode, we'll uncover 7 undeniable signs that she loves you deeply but is scared to commit. Watch until the end to learn how to interpret her behavior and how to respond without pushing her further away. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. She is vulnerable around you. When a woman lets her guard down and exposes her vulnerabilities, it's one of the most profound ways she can show trust. Vulnerability doesn't come easily to most people, especially to someone who has been hurt before or fears being hurt in the future. If she opens up about her fears, past heartbreaks, or insecurities, she's allowing you into a deeply personal space, one that she doesn't share lightly. This willingness to be seen for who she truly is demonstrates that she values you deeply and sees you as someone who might be worth the risk, even if the thought of full commitment feels overwhelming. Her vulnerability often surfaces in subtle but meaningful ways. She might share painful memories, confide in you during moments of doubt, or seek your advice on matters close to her heart. These acts aren't just expressions of trust, they're markers of an emotional connection that goes beyond surface-level interaction. Stoics understood that true strength lies in accepting vulnerability, seeing it not as a weakness, but as a courageous act of honesty. By allowing herself to open up, she's taking that leap of courage, even if it scares her to let someone in so deeply. However, this vulnerability doesn't come without challenges. There will be moments when she might retreat or seem distant after opening up. This isn't because her feelings have changed, but because she's grappling with the fear of having exposed so much of herself. It's a natural reaction for someone who's afraid of commitment or rejection. These moments of retreat aren't meant to push you away. They're a form of self-preservation, a way for her to regain control over emotions that feel overwhelming. Recognizing this and staying grounded in your response is key to helping her navigate these emotions. In her moments of openness, your reaction plays a crucial role in reinforcing her trust. If you respond with patience, kindness, and understanding, you validate her decision to let her guard down. This reassurance tells her that her feelings are safe with you, making it more likely that she'll continue to share her inner world with you. Stoics believed that maintaining equanimity in the face of challenges allowed for deeper understanding and stronger connections. Similarly, your steady and empathetic response can create a safe environment for her to feel secure, even as she wrestles with her fears. Vulnerability isn't always expressed in grand confessions. It can also show up in everyday interactions. She might lean on you during a tough day, ask for help with something she could easily handle alone, or let you see her without the polished image she presents to others. These moments of unfiltered honesty are her way of saying, "I trust you to see me as I am." This level of openness is rare and precious, especially for someone who fears the consequences of getting too close. But vulnerability also requires balance. While it's important to be a steady presence for her, it's equally important to encourage mutual sharing. If the relationship becomes one-sided, where she opens up while you remain distant, it can create an imbalance that fuels her fears of commitment. Sharing your own vulnerabilities can be a powerful way to strengthen the bond and show her that intimacy is a two-way street. When both people in a relationship feel safe enough to share openly, the connection becomes a partnership rather than a dynamic of one person carrying the emotional weight. Stoicism teaches us that vulnerability is not an end, but a path to understanding and growth. When she lets you into her world, she's not only inviting you to know her better, but also testing whether the relationship can withstand the weight of true emotional intimacy. It's a delicate dance of fear and hope, a sign that, while she's scared, she's also willing to try. In these moments, remember that her vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. It's her way of reaching out, of showing that she values the connection and sees the potential for something meaningful. If you meet her openness with respect and care, you pave the way for her to feel more secure in the relationship. Over time, this trust can help her confront her fears of commitment and allow the relationship to deepen in ways neither of you might have anticipated. Ultimately, when a woman is vulnerable around you, she's taking a leap of faith. It's a sign that she's willing to risk her fears for the possibility of love and connection. Your role is to honor that trust and show her that she made the right choice in letting you in. By doing so, you not only strengthen your bond, but also help her see that vulnerability, far from being a risk, can be the foundation of. Chapter 2. She is scared of losing you. Fear of loss is one of the most intense emotions that can influence human behavior, and when a woman loves you deeply, this fear can become a constant undercurrent in her actions. The closer she feels to you, the more she might begin to imagine what life would be like without you. This overwhelming thought can trigger a range of self-protective behaviors, many of which may seem contradictory. Instead of expressing her love openly, she may unconsciously push you away to shield herself from potential heartbreak. This fear often manifests as self-sabotaging behavior, leaving you wondering about her true feelings. She might suddenly create emotional distance, withdrawing from conversations or intimacy. One day, she might seem warm and deeply connected, and the next, she may appear aloof or distracted. This push and pull dynamic isn't about her lack of interest, but rather her internal struggle with the possibility of losing someone she cares about so deeply. At times, this fear can even make her hesitant to define the relationship, not because she doesn't want it, but because labeling it makes the stakes feel higher, amplifying her anxiety about potential loss. Stoicism provides a powerful lens through which to view these behaviors. The philosophy teaches us that fear is often rooted in our attachment to outcomes we cannot control. For her, the fear of losing you represents a struggle with uncertainty and vulnerability. Stoics emphasize the importance of remaining calm and grounded in the face of such uncertainty, responding with understanding rather than reacting emotionally. By approaching her actions with patience and empathy, you can create a space where she feels safe to confront her fears. Her fear of loss might also manifest in more subtle ways, such as excessive checking in or small acts of jealousy. She may overanalyze your actions, searching for reassurance even when none is explicitly needed. For example, if you're late to reply to a message, she might interpret it as a sign that you're losing interest. These moments reveal her inner turmoil. She cares so deeply that the idea of losing your connection feels unbearable. While it's easy to feel frustrated by these behaviors, understanding their root cause allows you to respond in a way that fosters security rather than escalating her fears. One of the most effective ways to address her fear is through consistency. Show her that your words and actions align over time. When she sees that you're reliable and steadfast, it gradually chips away at her fear of abandonment. Reassure her not only with grand gestures, but also with everyday acts of kindness and reliability. A simple, heartfelt message or a consistent follow-through on your promises can go a long way in easing her anxiety. Stoicism also reminds us of the importance of focusing on what we can control, our own actions and reactions. While you can't eliminate her fear entirely, you can influence how safe she feels in the relationship by maintaining your composure and avoiding reactive behavior. If she pulls away, resist the urge to chase her or demand explanations. Instead, give her the space she needs to process her emotions while gently reminding her that you're there when she's ready. This balance of patience and presence demonstrates emotional stability, which is crucial for someone wrestling with fears of loss. Her fear of losing you can also lead to moments of profound vulnerability. She might unexpectedly open up about her insecurities or admit that she's scared of getting too close. These moments are significant. They indicate that she trusts you enough to share her inner fears. When she does, it's essential to listen without judgment, validating her feelings while offering reassurance. Acknowledge her emotions and let her know that it's okay to feel scared. By doing so, you create a foundation of trust where her fear becomes something you can navigate together rather than a barrier between you. It's also important to recognize that her fear of losing you stems from a place of love and care. While it may manifest in challenging ways, it ultimately reflects the depth of her feelings. In many cases, the stronger her love, the greater her fear. Understanding this can help you reframe her actions, seeing them not as rejections, but as expressions of her internal battle. This perspective can transform moments of frustration into opportunities for growth and connection. Over time, your consistent presence and understanding can help her confront and manage her fear of loss. As she sees that your commitment doesn't waver in the face of her doubts, she'll begin to feel more secure in the relationship. This growing sense of security can encourage her to let go of her protective walls and embrace the connection fully. It's a gradual process, but with patience and compassion, you can help her move from fear to trust. Ultimately, her fear of losing you is both a challenge and a testament to the depth of her feelings. By approaching her with the calm, grounded perspective of a Stoic, you can navigate this emotional terrain together, building a relationship that is resilient and deeply meaningful. Remember, her fear isn't a reflection of weakness, it's a sign of how much you mean to her. Through your steadiness, you can show her that love doesn't have to be something to fear, but something to cherish and nurture. Chapter 3. She can read your mind. A woman deeply connected to her emotions often develops an almost intuitive ability to sense what's going on in your mind. If she consistently picks up on your moods, notices when you're frustrated, or senses your distractions without you saying a word, it's a sign she's deeply attuned to you. This heightened awareness isn't random, it stems from her emotional investment in you. When she cares deeply, she naturally becomes more observant, noticing even the subtlest shifts in your tone, body language, or expressions. This ability to read your mind is her way of staying connected to you on a deeper level. Her heightened sensitivity reflects how much attention she's paying to your emotional world. She might know when you've had a tough day, even if you haven't mentioned it, or sense when you're preoccupied with something troubling. This isn't just about observation, it's about empathy. Her emotions are so intertwined with yours that your struggles and triumphs become hers as well. This emotional mirroring shows how deeply she feels for you and her desire to understand you completely. However, this intuitive connection can be a double-edged sword. While it allows her to tune into your feelings, it can also make her more susceptible to misinterpreting them. For instance, if you're quiet or distant because you're lost in thought, she might perceive it as a sign of disinterest or rejection. Her fear of losing you or being hurt can lead her to overanalyze these moments, causing her to withdraw or act guarded. This reaction isn't about her doubting you, it's about her struggling to reconcile her intense feelings with her fear of vulnerability and commitment. From a Stoic perspective, misunderstandings often arise from assumptions rather than reality. The Stoics valued clarity and openness in communication as a means to avoid unnecessary conflict. When you notice her interpreting your silence or distraction as something it's not, take the opportunity to address it directly. A simple acknowledgement, like "I'm just preoccupied with work," can reassure her and prevent her fears from spiraling. This kind of transparent communication not only strengthens your bond, but also helps her feel more secure in her connection with you. Her ability to read your emotions isn't just about understanding, it's her way of being present for you. If she senses your frustration, she might try to comfort you in small, meaningful ways, such as offering to listen or giving you space when she feels you need it. These gestures, while subtle, show her commitment to your emotional well-being. She's demonstrating that she's there for you, even if she's hesitant to verbalize her own feelings fully. This intuitive connection also reveals her deep internal conflict. On one hand, her ability to read your emotions shows how much she cares for you and how invested she is in your happiness. On the other hand, this same sensitivity can make her feel exposed and vulnerable. If she senses that her emotional attunement isn't reciprocated, it might amplify her fears about the relationship. For someone who is afraid of commitment, this vulnerability can feel like both a strength and a weakness. Understanding her sensitivity allows you to create a safe space for her to express herself. When she brings up concerns based on her interpretations of your feelings, listen with patience and empathy. Validate her perspective without dismissing her emotions, even if her fears seem unfounded. For example, if she asks, "Are you upset with me?" instead of brushing it off, respond with kindness, "Not at all, I've just had a lot on my mind. Thank you for checking in." These small moments of reassurance go a long way in easing her anxieties and building trust. Her ability to pick up on your unspoken emotions also reflects her desire for a deeper connection. She wants to understand you fully, to feel close to you in a way that goes beyond words. This level of attentiveness is rare and precious, but it requires careful nurturing. If you dismiss her insights or fail to acknowledge her efforts to connect, she might feel undervalued or overwhelmed. Instead, recognize her emotional intelligence and let her know how much you appreciate her understanding. A simple "you always know how I'm feeling" can validate her efforts and strengthen your bond. At the same time, it's essential to manage her expectations gently. While her ability to read your emotions is impressive, it's important to remind her that no one can fully understand another person's inner world without open communication. Encourage her to ask questions rather than make assumptions, and be proactive in sharing your feelings and thoughts. This creates a healthier dynamic where she doesn't feel the pressure to decode every nuance of your behavior, and you both can connect more authentically. Ultimately, her ability to read your mind is a testament to her emotional depth and her investment in the relationship. While it may sometimes create challenges, it also offers an opportunity for deeper intimacy and understanding. By approaching her sensitivity with patience, openness, and gratitude, you can turn this intuitive connection into a foundation for trust and emotional closeness. Remember, her fears and insights are not just signs of love, they're invitations for you to engage with her on a deeper, more meaningful level. Chapter 4. Her friends know about you. When her friends seem to know all about you, your favorite coffee order, the way you laugh, or the inside jokes you share, it's not by accident. Women often confide in their closest friends about the people they deeply care for. If her friends drop hints about how much she talks about you or seem unusually familiar with details of your life, it's a clear signal that you occupy an important place in her thoughts and feelings. This sharing is a form of emotional processing, helping her navigate her feelings for you, even if she hasn't fully expressed them to you yet. Her friends' awareness of you goes beyond casual mentions. It's a reflection of how much you've impacted her life. Women generally reserve this level of detail for relationships or individuals they value deeply. If her friends tease her about you, ask how things are going between the two of you, or show curiosity about your interactions, it's a solid indicator that she's been speaking about you often and in a way that suggests you mean more to her than she might be ready to admit. However, there's a duality here. On one hand, her willingness to share shows how much she values and cares for you. On the other, it also reveals her internal struggle. Sharing these feelings with her friends can be her way of seeking validation or clarity about the connection. It's her way of trying to make sense of the emotions she's experiencing while simultaneously grappling with her fears of commitment. This internal tug-of-war between her emotions and fears is what keeps her from fully diving into the relationship despite her evident affection for you. From a Stoic perspective, we can appreciate this as a moment where her actions reveal more than words ever could. The Stoics emphasized that behavior often speaks louder than spoken promises. Her decision to involve her friends is a reflection of her investment in you. It's her way of acknowledging to herself and others that you're not just another fleeting interest. It's a vulnerable step, even if it feels indirect. By observing these actions with patience and understanding, you can better navigate her fears and hesitations. It's also worth noting that her friends might act as intermediaries in subtle ways. They may test the waters with you, gauging your interest or compatibility. If you find her friends going out of their way to include you or share details about her with you, it's likely a sign that they're rooting for the connection and trying to bridge the gap between her feelings and her fears. Their involvement, whether intentional or not, underscores how significant you are in her life. At the same time, this shared intimacy with her friends can be a double-edged sword for her. While it helps her process her feelings, it can also amplify her fears of commitment. The more people know about her emotional investment in you, the more vulnerable she feels. She might worry about judgment, potential heartbreak, or the pressure to move the relationship forward before she's ready. This could make her cautious or hesitant in her interactions with you, even as her actions clearly indicate her feelings. Understanding this dynamic is crucial. Instead of pushing her to clarify her intentions, focus on building a connection based on trust and patience. When her friends bring you up in conversation or mention how much she talks about you, respond with kindness and lightheartedness. Acknowledging her feelings without forcing the issue can help her feel more at ease with the idea of progressing naturally. For example, if her friend says, "She mentioned you love hiking," you could reply with a warm, "Yeah, she's great at picking the best trails." This reassures her indirectly that her feelings are safe and reciprocated. It's also important to show her friends that you respect and value her without putting her on the spot. Building rapport with them can strengthen her trust in you, as her friends' opinions often carry significant weight in her decision-making process. Treating them with warmth and respect demonstrates that you are genuinely invested in her and her world. Over time, this can help alleviate some of her fears as she sees you fitting seamlessly into her life. On your part, avoid overanalyzing her hesitations or reading too much into her fear of commitment. Instead, focus on creating a space where she feels comfortable and accepted for where she is emotionally. By giving her the freedom to navigate her feelings without pressure, you're allowing her to process her fears at her own pace. This kind of patience and understanding speaks volumes, showing her that you're a steady presence who respects her boundaries while valuing the connection you share. In the end, the fact that her friends know about you is a strong indicator of her feelings, even if she hasn't fully expressed them. It's a sign that she's thought about you deeply enough to share you with the people closest to her. While this doesn't guarantee she's ready for a full commitment, it shows that you've made a meaningful impact on her life. Recognize her actions for what they are, a blend of affection, vulnerability, and the cautious steps of someone learning to trust again. With time, patience, and continued support, you can help her move past her fears and embrace the connection that's already blooming between you. Chapter 5. She flirts via text but holds back in person. If she's playful and expressive through text yet noticeably reserved in person, it reveals an emotional conflict rooted in fear and vulnerability. Texting allows her to engage with you in a low-pressure environment where she can let her guard down without the immediate risks of rejection or exposure. Through text, she might tease, joke, or even share her feelings more openly. But when you're face-to-face, the stakes feel higher, and her fear of intimacy may cause her to retreat, resulting in a noticeable contrast between her digital boldness and in-person hesitancy. This behavior can be perplexing and even frustrating, but it's also a valuable opportunity to understand and nurture the connection. Her playful texts aren't insincere, rather, they reflect her genuine interest in you. However, the real-time nature of face-to-face interaction demands a level of vulnerability she might not yet feel ready to offer. She fears that her emotions, once fully visible, could lead to rejection or heartbreak. This internal struggle often creates a push-and-pull dynamic where she longs for closeness but hesitates when the moment feels too real. Stoic philosophy teaches us to approach such situations with patience and compassion. The Stoics believed in accepting others as they are while seeking to understand their perspectives without judgment. By applying this principle, you can create a space where she feels safe enough to bridge the gap between her text-based flirtation and her in-person interactions. Instead of reacting with frustration or pressure, approach her hesitation with empathy and reassurance. Building her trust in these moments requires subtlety and consistency. Focus on creating an environment that feels relaxed and pressure-free when you're together. Gentle humor, light conversation, and a warm, approachable demeanor can help her feel at ease. Avoid pointing out the disparity between her texting and real-life behavior in a way that might embarrass her. Instead, let her see that you value her presence and appreciate her efforts to connect, no matter the medium. Over time, as she grows more comfortable with you, you may notice her gradually opening up in person. Small gestures, like maintaining eye contact, initiating physical closeness, or sharing a deeper thought or feeling, are signs that she's beginning to overcome her fears. Acknowledge these steps with kindness and subtle affirmation, reinforcing that her vulnerability is safe with you. It's also essential to recognize that her reliance on texting as a primary mode of expression isn't a sign of avoidance, but rather a stepping stone. Digital communication offers her a way to test the waters of emotional connection without the immediate pressure of in-person interaction. By engaging her warmly and thoughtfully in your text exchanges, you're building a foundation of trust that can carry over into your face-to-face moments. However, this process takes time, and it's crucial to manage your expectations. Her fear of intimacy might not vanish overnight, and there may be moments of progress followed by periods of hesitation. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, our own actions and responses, rather than trying to force outcomes. Your role is to remain steady and supportive, showing her through your actions that her feelings and fears are understood and respected. As the relationship evolves, you'll likely notice her growing more confident in bridging the gap between her digital and real-world selves. What begins as playful banter in texts can transform into genuine moments of connection in person. This journey is a testament to the trust you're building together, a trust that encourages her to let go of her fears and embrace the potential of the relationship. Ultimately, her flirtatious texts and reserved in-person demeanor are two sides of the same coin, both reflecting her desire to connect and her fear of vulnerability. By meeting her with patience, understanding, and genuine care, you're not only helping her navigate her emotions, but also creating a relationship rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. Over time, this dynamic can shift, leading to a deeper, more fulfilling connection where both of you feel free to express yourselves fully, whether through a screen or face-to-face. Chapter 6. She takes care of you. When a woman goes out of her way to show care through small, thoughtful gestures, it's a clear reflection of her feelings. Bringing you coffee just the way you like it, cooking your favorite meal, or checking in to see how you're feeling when you've had a tough day, these seemingly simple acts carry deep emotional weight. For someone hesitant about commitment, these actions are often more comfortable than verbal expressions of love. Through these gestures, she's revealing her affection in a way that feels safe and manageable for her. Her care is more than kindness, it's a language of love that bypasses the vulnerability of direct words. In many ways, her actions speak louder than a verbal declaration. For someone fearful of opening up completely, these small acts allow her to connect without fully exposing her emotions. Cooking for you might seem like a practical act, but it's her way of nurturing and showing that you hold a special place in her life. By checking on your well-being or remembering little details about your preferences, she's demonstrating her deep consideration for your happiness and comfort. The Stoics understood that actions often convey truths more reliably than words. In her acts of service and care, you can see her attempt to bridge the gap between her feelings and her fear of being vulnerable. These actions are her way of saying, "I see you, I value you, and I want to be there for you," without having to voice it outright. By observing these gestures with gratitude and understanding, you honor her way of expressing herself, even if she's not ready to confront her emotions directly. Her caregiving might also serve as a way for her to test the waters, gauging how you respond to her efforts. If you show appreciation, it reassures her that she's on the right path and that her feelings aren't misplaced. This dynamic can help her feel safer in the relationship, gradually reducing her hesitation about committing fully. Even something as simple as thanking her sincerely or returning the favor with small acts of your own can encourage her to continue opening up. For her, taking care of you provides a sense of control over the relationship dynamic. Saying "I love you" or diving headfirst into commitment might feel overwhelming, but through her actions, she can still show her affection while maintaining a sense of emotional safety. This is particularly important for someone who fears the vulnerability that comes with deeper intimacy. It's her way of protecting herself while still allowing the relationship to grow organically. At the same time, her acts of care are also an invitation. She's inviting you to notice her efforts and to reciprocate in kind. Whether it's surprising her with a small gesture, being attentive to her needs, or simply acknowledging how much her care means to you, these responses can deepen your bond. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of reciprocation and balance in relationships, recognizing that mutual effort fosters trust and stability. Her thoughtful actions also highlight her investment in the relationship. She's paying attention to your preferences, anticipating your needs, and actively seeking ways to bring you joy. These are not random acts, they're deliberate choices that reflect how much she values you. Even if she struggles to put her feelings into words, her consistent care speaks volumes about her intentions. Over time, as trust builds, these small gestures can pave the way for deeper emotional sharing. She may start to feel more comfortable expressing her feelings verbally, knowing that her actions have been met with warmth and understanding. By continuing to appreciate and acknowledge her care, you create a safe environment for her to overcome her fear of commitment gradually. It's important to recognize, however, that her fear might cause her to pull back occasionally. If she feels that her actions are being misinterpreted as a push for deeper commitment, she may hesitate to continue. During these moments, maintaining your patience and reassurance is key. Let her know, through both words and actions, that her care is valued and doesn't come with any expectations. This approach aligns with Stoic principles, focusing on acceptance and fostering trust without forcing outcomes. Ultimately, her caregiving is a window into her heart, a way for her to share her emotions without fully confronting the vulnerability that scares her. By understanding and reciprocating these acts of care, you create a foundation of mutual respect and affection. Over time, this steady exchange of kindness can help her feel safe enough to embrace the idea of commitment more openly, transforming her fear into a shared journey toward deeper connection. Chapter 7. She tells you her walls are down. When she openly acknowledges that she's working to lower her emotional barriers, it's a deeply significant moment in your connection. For someone who fears love and commitment, admitting to these walls is no small feat, it's an act of bravery. By voicing this, she's not only recognizing her own fears, but also expressing a desire to move beyond them. She's signaling that she values the relationship enough to take a chance on vulnerability, even if she's approaching it cautiously. Her admission is a window into her internal struggle. It reflects both her fears and her willingness to overcome them. For someone hesitant to commit, this act of openness is a deliberate step toward growth. It's her way of saying, "I'm trying, and I want you to see that." These moments often mark the beginning of a deeper emotional connection, where trust becomes the foundation for moving forward. The Stoics understood the strength it takes to confront one's vulnerabilities. They believed that true courage lies in acknowledging and addressing our inner challenges rather than avoiding them. When she tells you her walls are coming down, she's placing her trust in you, hoping that her openness will be met with patience and understanding. This is a turning point where your response can either solidify her trust or reinforce her fears. Responding with patience and encouragement is key. Avoid rushing her or pushing her to move faster than she's ready. Instead, create an environment where she feels safe to continue lowering her guard. Simple affirmations like "I appreciate you sharing this with me," or "Take your time, I'm here for you," can go a long way in reassuring her that her vulnerability is not misplaced. Her admission also offers an opportunity to strengthen the bond between you. Sharing your own vulnerabilities at a pace that feels comfortable can help her feel less alone in her journey. When both partners are open about their challenges, it creates a sense of mutual understanding and partnership. This shared space of honesty can transform the relationship into something more profound and enduring. It's important to recognize that this process won't always be linear. Even after admitting her walls are coming down, she may have moments of doubt or hesitation. Fear of getting hurt can make her retreat temporarily. Stoic philosophy teaches us to approach such moments with equanimity, understanding that setbacks are a natural part of growth. Your consistent support during these times will show her that she made the right choice in opening up to you. Her decision to verbalize her struggles is also an invitation for you to deepen your emotional connection. Listen actively when she shares her thoughts and feelings, and avoid dismissing or minimizing her fears. Instead, acknowledge the courage it took for her to be honest with you. This level of understanding can strengthen her trust and help her feel more secure in the relationship. Over time, as she becomes more comfortable with her vulnerability, you'll likely notice her opening up in other ways too. She might share more about her past, express her feelings more openly, or become more affectionate. Each of these steps is a testament to the trust and connection you've built together. Recognizing and celebrating these moments, no matter how small, can encourage her to continue moving forward. This phase of your relationship is a delicate balance of patience, understanding, and mutual effort. By showing her that her openness is met with respect and care, you create a foundation for a deeper, more meaningful connection. Stoic wisdom reminds us that true strength lies in accepting and nurturing the vulnerability of others, fostering a bond that can withstand life's challenges. Ultimately, her admission that she's trying to lower her walls is a declaration of hope. It's her way of saying that she sees potential in the relationship and is willing to face her fears for the chance at something real. By meeting her where she is and walking alongside her in this journey, you not only help her overcome her fears, but also build a partnership rooted in trust, respect, and genuine affection. When a woman loves you but fears commitment, her actions often reveal more than her words. Recognizing these 7 signs helps you navigate her emotional landscape with empathy and understanding, just as Stoicism teaches us to remain patient and grounded in the face of complexity. If you've experienced this in your relationships, share your story in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights like these.